Okay. For some reason, my recording didn't start. Hey, Brian, my voice is not in sync with what I'm doing. Why is that?
This is the place you can always
Sorry, everybody.
friend, the Lillian McDermott Show.
Here
to
we
reach
go.
out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friends, and it's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening and viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, before I introduce you to my guest today, Dr. Brian Mowll, as you know, yesterday I started the broadcast by reminding you that I had a couple of back-to-back events this week. It's been a busy week this week, but I want to remind you that if you haven't RSVP'd, it's important for you to RSVP today because the Healthy Eating and Living Tribe, the HEAL Tribe, is going to come together today at Merritt Island in Bonefish Grill. It'll be our, as you know, we did our kickoff in Jacksonville, and today will be the kickoff for the Space Coast. But we're all one. As you know, we are heard from the North Florida all the way to South Florida, and we are all one. So anybody who wants to join either the Jacksonville or the Merritt Island tribe, you're welcome to join us. We're going to take our health back. And today I have a special surprise. As you know, Dr. Joel Fuhrman has been a regular on my show for 2.5 years now. Every month he tells you about G-bombs. But for those of you who've never heard the show and you're coming to the HEAL Tribe for the first time, we have a special guest that's going to be joining us via Zoom, via Skype, or whatever you want to call it. But he is going to be there. He's going to give us a talk, and he'll take some questions as well. So 5:30 we start. We meet at Bonefish Grill, and that is 795 East Merritt Island Causeway. They're going to make us a whole food, plant-based meal, no oils, and it's going to be to live for. So I am excited that we get to do this today. So if you would like to be a part of this tribe, then I want to encourage you to RSVP today at 407-373-5959. We have a nice group coming out today. I need for you to make a commitment today to go to this event. And if you want some food, some healthy food, you need to RSVP 407-373-5959. You can call or text, whatever. You leave a message, but that's what I'm about to do today. Today is an exciting day, so I am really excited because not only are we going to do this today, I get to introduce you to Dr. Brian Mowll. Now, we've heard of a life coach, and we've even heard of a health coach. But the author of the Blood Sugar Manifesto, Dr. Brian Mowll, he's a DC by trade, also functional medicine doctor, will share the benefits of having a diabetes coach. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Brian Mowll is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Mowll, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be on here with you today.
I am excited that you're on. Today's an exciting day for the Lillian McDermott Radio Show because for 7 years, I've been planting seeds. And now we get to go out into the community and say, now what? Now what? And what was now what for you? Because as a DC, a doctor of chiropractic, you've arrived, right? You've got your thing going on. But then what happened? Tell us a little bit about your background and what made you decide to go towards the functional medicine as well.
Yeah, and diabetes really, because it kind of all happened at the same time. And I've been in practice for almost 20 years. And I still remember my first patient where I saw a diabetes transformation. And it was about 5 years into practice. I was doing, more conventional care. and helping people. But I was doing a lot of nutrition classes because it was it was always part of what I believed in, and I was always passionate about sharing nutritional knowledge because there's such a lack of knowledge about nutrition out there, unfortunately. And so this person came to one of my classes, and she was probably 30, 40 pounds overweight, had type 2 diabetes. I didn't know that much about it other than what I learned in school at the time. And she started making some changes to her diet. She started asking me questions when she came in, and I started doing more research about trying to help her with natural solutions. I didn't see her for about a month, and she came back and had lost about 15 to 18 pounds,
Wow.
and her blood sugar was better. 90 days later, she had completely reversed her diabetes. So her blood sugar numbers had come back down to normal. She had eliminated the medication she was on at the time, and lost like another 15 pounds. So
wow.
like in 90 days, she had made a complete transformation, and it just got me so excited. That this person had totally changed the course of their life and their health on their own, and I helped a little, but not that much. And so I decided, you know what, I need to learn more about this. And so I did. I just dove into the research. I started studying as much as I could, and that set me on a path towards learning more about functional medicine.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very and we're gonna. I mean to cut you off, but we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Brian Mowll about his story and our story and how it comes together when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, so I don't know what's going on here, but I am. Can you see my voice and my movements are separate from my?
Yes.
Are they off?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Brian, what should we do about this? Yikes.
It's not disruptive.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, on the radio, people can't see that my video and my mouth are a little off. So I apologize for those of you who will write on the bottom, hey, you're off. I know I can't do anything about it. And if the music is loud, I can't do anything about it. So we're going to make the best of it because we have a wonderful coach with us today. Now, it's a very, very interesting story. You talk about, Dr. Mowll, how you we're trying to help this patient, but it kind of, to me, as you were explaining this, and maybe we can talk about this on the air, that she became your teacher.
Yeah, true.
And here
at
you
least
were,
opened my eyes to this new path. Yeah.
But you were open to it. There are many doctors that have, they've got their doctorate. What else can you do? I mean, you've got your doctorate degree.
Right.
And you would say, okay, I was given a diploma. Look at this diploma on the wall right back there.
Uh-huh.
I can show you that I've earned this and I know everything I need to know. But you said, but there's more.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more. And so she became this. So how much education in nutrition did you have as a DC? Because I know that that's part of what you guys do.
Well, yeah, but not that much. It's a little more than conventional medical school, but
Mm-hmm.
but not that much. We get some nutritional biochemistry, and we get maybe 2 semesters worth of nutrition. So it's not, again, that's 4 times as much as what they get in medical school, but it's still not a whole lot. But but there is a.
Oh, here we go. Hold that thought.
You can count on me.
You can dance.
Right here waiting for you.
So you can't see me, can you?
You can text Lillian
Can you see me?
McDermott or leave her a voicemail
Okay.
at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. I want to remind you that today's the day that you get to RSVP for the Healthy Eating and Living Tribe in Merritt Island. We're going to meet at Bonefish Grill at 5:30, and we have a special guest. And I already said it, but if you didn't hear it, you're going to have to wait. I'll say it again maybe later. You're going to have to listen on. But RSVP at 407-373-5959. We just want to make sure that there's enough food that is specially designed as a whole food, plant-based, which is what we embrace on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. and that it'd be right there waiting for you. And if you're going to be running late, you can text me, let me know you're going to be late, and I can order it for you so that when you sit down, you've got your meal and we can have our meeting and talk about how we want to take our health back. And today, joining us to keep with that theme of taking our health back is Dr. Mowll. He is a diabetes coach. So, interesting story, what you shared, Dr. Mowll. Thank you so much for being on the show today, that here you are helping a group of people, and it was the questions of a patient that got you realizing that there wasn't enough about nutrition taught in medical school. Can you elaborate a little bit about that and why it was that you were open even though you have a diploma?
Yeah, sometimes when something strikes your heart and lights a fire inside of you, it's hard to ignore. And that's the way that was for me, both the potential and the possibility for real healing and transformation, and the excitement that we can do this through food. I believe that food is really our best medicine or our best healer, and we can use food to destroy our bodies. We can also use food to rebuild and heal our bodies. And seeing that in action was really a transformational moment for me.
Very good. Very good. And then what made you decide to go back and go back to school and become a functional doctor?
Yeah. So, I really wanted the tools to be able to help people in a much more comprehensive way. I'd love to share in class form the things that I was learning, but I realized I needed almost a completely new model to be able to take someone into my clinic and do a full comprehensive workup to really be able to help them the way many of these people need to be helped. As easy as it seems like that first patient was, diabetes is not always that easy. It can be a very complex condition with many factors, and sometimes we need to dig deep to uncover a lot of those things. So the functional medicine model really provides that structure, that framework, in how to work with a person on lifestyle, diet, stress, physical activity, gut health, brain health, all these things to really uncover the root causes of blood sugar problems and diabetes.
Yeah, because there's different levels of diabetes, and many of us don't understand, that this is, people get diagnosed with diabetes, and I know, oh, my mom had it, my dad have it, so now I have it. They look at genetics as I'm a victim of my DNA, but we've learned on the show time and time again that we can turn on the gene, we can turn it off by the way we eat, live, think, act, and eat. And so what we inherit are the family recipes. And so I would love for you to share a little bit about, go deeper into this, because, diabetes is an unnecessary, for the most part, it's unnecessary because of our lifestyle.
Absolutely. And we know that there are some diabetes genes. That is very true. And you're right. It is a recipe. It's a potential, but we have a lot of influence over those genes. They're like little switches that we can turn on or off through our diet and lifestyle. Food is information. It's not just calories. And that information washes over our genes. The study of this, by the way, is called nutrigenomics. And how our food influences our genes, how our lifestyle influences our genes. So there are certain genes that can be turned on by certain foods that can lead to obesity and diabetes and other issues. There are certain genes that can be turned off and there's certain genes that can be turned on that can lead to longevity. So I think that these, the genetic code is important, and some people seemingly can do whatever they want and live a long life and not have diabetes ever. But others need to be much more careful. So it's important to look at your parents and your close relatives for potential, but there's many people who don't have any diabetes in their family who become the first to develop diabetes. And that's a scary thing. We look at some of the Native American tribes, for example, Native American groups that had no diabetes several generations ago and now are almost 80-90% diabetic because it was in their genes, but they weren't eating the foods and living the lifestyle that triggered those genes. when we started subsidizing their diets and so forth with white flour and white rice and lots of cheap starchy foods basically, and lots of junk food, of course, as well, processed refined foods. And they stopped moving the way they used to. Then they started becoming obese, and diabetes skyrocketed in those populations. So,
yeah, it's interesting that the things the government subsidizes are the things that are leading to early death.
Mm-hmm.
You would think they would subsidize fresh foods, like, like teaching them how to put a farm in their backyard, but right. the subsidized items are all leading to these diseases. And then we're told by the pharmaceutical industry to take the pill so that we can continue eating all these foods that are contributing to our disease. We've got to break this format, this platform, whatever. So help us get to that as a coach. As coaches, we are meant to encourage people to do things that they may not think of to doing on their own. So how do you as a coach develop someone to want to stop eating these foods that are so addictive?
Yeah, that's a great question. And ultimately that is the question, is how do we get to the, not even just diet, although that's a huge one and you hit on a big one there, but the lifestyle factors, the habits that contribute towards diabetes and overweight and basically degeneration and early death, because we can ultimately determine a lot of our fate when it comes to our health. Mm-hmm. So how do we do that? And I think the first thing is to tap into each person's core motivation for wanting to get healthy. Okay. And sometimes we have to dig deep for that, because there are people who are so unhealthy that they really have lost hope. They don't really know if they even want to get healthy, and if they do, why. So sometimes we have to dig deep into that and find those goals and aspirations. And maybe it's maybe they have kids that they want to be a better example for, or perhaps they want to see those kids grow up and have their own kids and sure. see their grandkids. Maybe it's something they want to travel or have freedom. And most people don't want to be in that unhealthy situation. They don't want to be injecting insulin. They don't want to be taking 2, 3, 4 different medications, and they know they're not healthy. So we have to tap into the other side of that. What is it that excites them about life? What are they motivated to do, to achieve? And then once we have that core motivation, we can create a plan to get to where they want to go, a step-by-step plan. But we have to always keep that core motivation in mind. So if it's the grandkids, if it's freedom, if it's traveling, if it's getting off of these medications, whatever it is, we have to keep that in the forefront of the mind so that we can continue to work towards that.
Very good. Very good. For those of you, for those of you who are interested in this, Dr. Mowll has created, it's called the Blood Sugar Manifesto, and you can download that on his website. That's drmowll.com. That's drmowll.com. And you can download it. It's a very simple guide. It's a guide to help you understand what diabetes is all about and help you get started with that plan, right? Is that why you wrote that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I'd like to mention one other thing. We have an event going on right now. It's free to the public, and it's actually happening as we speak. It started on Monday. It's called the Diabetes Summit. They can go to the diabetessummit.com, register for free. We have 4 or 5 expert presentations. Oh, yeah? And we actually had Joel Fuhrman on a couple of years ago, and we have a lot of, it's a mix of different nutritional theories and so forth, because I believe that, it's good to expose people to different ways of thinking and let them resonate with what they're going to, what really, or let them find what resonates for them. But we've had a lot of plant-based, Joel Kahn, the cardiologist.
Yeah, he's been on. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, 4 or 5 different expert speakers each day, and it's all free, so they can go there and register and check that out. I didn't
see that on your website. Okay, so it's the diabetessummit.com.
That's right. Yep.
The diabetes. You heard him. So for those of you who are interested in learning more, Because here's the thing, Dr. Mowll, people are told things and we believe it. And once we believe it, it becomes part of our life.
Mhm.
And I believe we can reformat just about anything. But when you're told you'll have to take this pill for the rest of your life, once you have diabetes, you always have diabetes. You don't know how many people I've had conversations with that I say, nope, that's not true. You need to, there was a time that the earth was flat and they thought the earth was flat, and someone came and said, no, it's a sphere. But there's still people who believe the earth is flat. And I do too much propaganda for the Flat Earth Society. And I would love to have someone come on the show and explain to us why. However, can you go through, because we all know there's a new truth out there. Can you share some of these new truths about the myths about diabetes, things that people tell themselves so they can continue with the habits that they got that caused the disease in the first place?
Absolutely. And the first one you hit on is huge, is that once diabetic, always diabetic. And that's just not true.
Not true. Did you hear that? Not true.
I told you about my very first patient who reversed her diabetes. There's actually published research documenting the fact that diabetes can be reversed. And the way we reverse it is by melting or burning the fat that's stored around the organs like the liver and pancreas. And by doing that, the pancreas can start working the way it's designed to work again. The liver can start processing glucose and fat and nutrients the way it's designed to again, and the body starts working again. One other myth is that you're diabetic because you're overweight. And that's not necessarily the case. I think it's that they have the same root cause, which is insulin resistance. And maybe we can talk more about that. But insulin resistance and high insulin causes us to become diabetic and causes us to store fat around the organs, which leads to diabetes. So it's not just because you're fat or overweight. It's not a death sentence. There's something you can do about it. You can turn this around.
Okay, but chances are when somebody is overweight, they open the door for diabetes, right?
Yeah, and it's the lifestyle factors that cause them to become overweight that likely cause them to become diabetes.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to continue talking about this on and off the air today. I want to encourage you to call 407-373-5959 to be part of the tribe in Space Coast. And for those of you who are in Jacksonville that want to join us, come join us, because we're all one. There's going to be an event in Jacksonville on May 23rd. So hang tight. We're going to continue our conversation worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay. So we talked about this insulin resistance. Do you know that I was placed on Metformin many years ago because I had melasma on my skin?
Wow.
So I have a thyroid condition. And the doctor at the time said that and I could not have sugar. If I had like maybe a drop of alcohol, if I had anything that resembled the sugar breakdown, it would feel like I was hungover. And I'm not one to get hungover, but that's what I think it would feel like if I was hungover. So the doctor said I was insulin resistant. He put me on Metformin. Wow. And for 2 years, I took Metformin and my blood sugar levels were like 80. My blood sugar levels are not. So what is that? Why would someone put me on Metformin? Because they said that I had insulin resistance because of the spots on my face. Is that something that he made up, or?
Yeah, there's not a real clear connection there between melasma and insulin resistance. There are things that can happen to the skin from insulin resistance, but that's not not one that I've commonly seen. As far as putting you on Metformin for insulin resistance, I think that it's an overly aggressive treatment. Metformin is a safe drug, but it's, as far as, there's always side effects to all medications. So it's not side effect free. And I think there's obviously way more you can do to address insulin resistance if in fact you were or are insulin resistant, which who
knows?
Tests that you can do to really determine that. It shouldn't just determined based on a sign or a symptom.
Sure, sure. And it was really, really strange for me. It was very strange because I obeyed what the doctors told me to do. I never questioned it. I didn't look at the side effects. And one day I was really, really sick. It was 2 years. And I think I had some wine that night before. And all of a sudden I went back and it said, do not drink alcohol. And when I was looking at the side effects, I mean, the combination, it could have killed me because of the combination. And I stopped it. I didn't care if there was a weaning down or whatever. My blood sugar levels never got up to, 80, 90, the worst that it ever got, And that's one question I want to ask. When do you take your blood? Don't answer it now, but when is the important time to take your blood so that you know what your real blood sugar levels, if you can explain that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then now, have you had any other incidents with diabetes? Because one patient to ask you these questions really changed your life, and the focus and by which you would, format your business, your practice.
Well, what's interesting is I think once you start putting a message out to the universe responds. And so once I became sort of obsessed with diabetes, I started getting a lot of people with diabetes walking through my door.
Got it.
And then it just became, a clinical training ground for me. I would continue to learn and do research and apply what I was learning with these people. And of course, they're all also under, medical care with their endocrinologists and doctors. So I don't think we were doing anything unethical, but we were really helping them to get healthy naturally. And over, maybe a 5-year period, I transitioned my entire practice to diabetes care.
Wow. And so basically at this point, you work with an MD to coach your patients?
So I'm a diabetes educator. I'm a master licensed diabetes educator. So that's, which is a license. And so that's how I practice. And that's how I care for people with diabetes is as an educator, but they have their own doctor. They have their own endocrinologist typically that they're working with as well. It's important in diabetes to have a really good healthcare team. So there may be a dietitian, there might be a personal trainer, and a coach like me.
Okay. So here we go. We're like 30 minutes have gone by. I'm going to talk about my social media and then I'll reintroduce you. Okay.
Sounds good.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I am your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn from each other. Whoever's in front of you, just like Dr. Mowll explained with his patient who was seeking a new truth about diabetes, she became his teacher, and he realized that he needed to do more. As he said during the break, when the universe speaks to you, you have to listen. So what is the universe telling you? Is it time to take your health back? Is it time to ignore the fact that someone planted in your head that you were a victim of your DNA? Is it time to walk away from the philosophy that if a doctor tells you to do it, you must do it blindly? Research everything you're told, which is something that I've learned. If I would have continued in the path that I was going in, I don't think I would be on the radio show today, because we trust people with our lives when we should really truly empower ourselves to be our own advocate. That's why coaches are so important. And listening to Dr. Mowll, he works with a team of a group of people, and he helps people with diabetes find their voice, find their truth in their body, where a doctor may not have that time for you. So do whatever it takes to learn to live the life of your dreams. And so I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. There is something that there's always a connection. And I don't think I do enough shows on this, but there's an emotional component to every disease, to every aspect of your life. And so the root cause is what most people don't look for. They want the symptom. and they talk about the symptom as the disease, but the symptom is just a symptom. And if you were to just dig in deep, and I call it my soul shovel, if you go deeper until you find, dig until there's only truth. And that's what we talk about here on the Lillian McDermott radio show. And I hope that you've taken this journey. This has been a 7-year journey for me, where I've really not only found my own voice, but I hope to empower you to find your own voice. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber. Tell all your friends, everyone to come join us on this journey. And when you become a subscriber, you get free gifts and the show gets sent to you. While you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, play around. Click on the little icons that lead you to YouTube. Subscribe there. That lead you to social media. Like me there. That lead you to different aspects. Lily's Kitchen, which leads you to Amazon so that you can buy some of the things that help you get started in your life to grow and get healthy. One of the things that I want to tell you is that when you become a subscriber, one of the gifts that you get is the 90-day challenge to self-love ebook that I wrote. And I wrote this many years ago as a result of so many of you feeling disconnected with self, being depressed, being anxious. And it's time to reconnect with your spirit. It's one and the same. It's a mind, body, spirit approach to healing. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. And then you can also, if you have any questions today for Dr. Mowll, or if you have any questions for me, or if you want to RSVP for the Heal Tribe for tonight that we're going to meet in Brevard County in Space Coast, Merritt Island, Bonefish Grill at 5:30. If you want to RSVP, you can call me, leave a message, or text me at 407-373-5959. Dr. Mowll, I'm so excited that you're here today to talk a little bit more about diabetes. You know, as I said, you know, I tell everybody that if any doctor tells you that you have X amount of time to live, or if this is the only way that you can do things, either fire them or find a second opinion. As a certified diabetes coach, and you're able to help coach people, you talk about having a team. Talk a little bit more about what that looks like for you as you help coach people with diabetes.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the average patient experience with their doctor is about a little over 30 minutes a year. So in other words, the average patient spends a little over 30 minutes a year with their doctor. And many people spend much less than that. With diabetes, people were told to check in with their doctor about 4 times a year, mm-hmm. and they might spend some time with an endocrinologist. Think about that. We've been on this show for about that amount of time, mm-hmm. and that's all they get with their doctor. So there's just no way to dig deep, to transform your life, to make the changes you really need to make, and to get the support and accountability in that amount of time.
Sure.
So we need somehow to change our system if we're really going to help people with diabetes, and we're going to change the trajectory of this disease. So one of the things that's come about, people have the ability to work with dietitians, people have the ability to work with maybe some exercise facilities. But again, even that is maybe a couple of visits a year, and they're teaching essentially the conventional standard of care model to eating, which is a high carb diet, still processed packaged foods, artificial sweeteners. It's better probably than the standard American diet approach, but it's still very inadequate, and certainly not going to help people reverse diabetes. So I'm a diabetes educator, a certified and master licensed diabetes educator. And I think this is the role that can really become the diabetes coach, because we're trained to work with people on a continuity basis. So to actually check in with them, to help them, to move them along. Now, unfortunately, most diabetes educators, and when I say most, I mean like 99-point-something% are also teaching the conventional model.
Yes.
But I still think it's very valuable. What I've chosen to do is to take a different road. So we teach, again, more of a functional medicine model, natural therapies, a different style of diet that's based on whole real foods, very plant rich, and focusing on healing the body with food rather than just managing blood sugar. But I do love the idea of a diabetes team. You know, we're not saying don't go to your doctor, don't go to your endocrinologist, don't see your dietitian and all that. I think there's important pieces, and you should have, when you have a complex condition like diabetes, it's important to have a good healthcare team, but we need to include a coach that resonates with you, that has the same goals as you do, that has the same dietary philosophy as you do, and that can actually help lead you and help keep you accountable and support you towards where you want to go.
Yes. Okay. So that's so important to feel empowered, because we're afraid to talk to our doctors. I've had people that have come to me and said they questioned their doctor, and the doctor had a stack of like books in their hand, you know, like what do you call that? Something to write on. And they questioned the doctor, and the doctor slammed their tablet. It was a tablet that they had. They slammed it on the where she was sitting, and she said, "If you don't do as I say, you can just leave." And he turned around after he slammed, and he walked away. And they were telling me about this because they refused to take, I'll tell you what it was. It was, they had the restless leg syndrome, and they wanted to put this person on medication. And they said, "No, I don't want medication. What else can I do?" And that's when they slammed the tablet on the table and said, "You can just leave if you're not going to follow what I tell you to do." It brings us back to our childhood when we're being reprimanded by our parents. How do we break out of that cycle?
You know, and
No.
just like when you're working with a bad relationship or a bad partner, or a spouse that has their own personal trauma, you know, you have to realize that doctors are humans, and somebody who's going to act like that is just not a healthy person mentally, and they probably need to go through some counseling and therapy, but probably not the kind of person you want on your healthcare team. So yeah, in that case, I agree. Find a doctor that is going to support you and who you resonate with, that you can have a relationship with. You should be able to have an open discussion. You know, I researched this and I found this and this and this. Do you know anything about it? Just be honest. You know, and the doctor might say, "I don't," and that's okay. You go somewhere else and try to get the information you need. But the doctor is important. I mean, they have a broad-based knowledge and they have an expertise in what they do, which is largely disease management and medication. But for diabetes, sometimes that's really necessary and important, at least in the beginning stages. So I think we want to have that on our team, but realize they're not gonna know everything. They're not gonna be everything to you, and make sure you find one that you actually can have a good relationship with.
You know, one of the things I share with people is look at your doctor. Look at your doctor. If your doctor looks healthy, listen. Look at your work, you know, your personal trainer. Look at the person that's teaching you how to do exercises. Look at them. Do they look healthy? Then listen. If they don't look healthy, it's just like, to me, and I hate to use this, it's like going to Jack the Ripper for dating advice. To me, that doesn't make sense to go to a doctor that isn't doctoring themselves. What do you say about that?
So true. I remember visiting the largest endocrinology group in my area, and in the break room, there is a huge container of donuts and orange juice sitting out on the counter. And I thought, wow, you know, these are the people who are coaching or treating most of the people with diabetes in my area. And here they have donuts and orange juice sitting out in the break room. That the nurses and
we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Mowll when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. I'm so sorry, Dr. Mowll. I know you can't see me, and you're not. You can't see the time either, can you?
I look down at it, but sometimes I miss the cues. That's okay. We're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good. You know, this is our last segment. I do want to talk about when to take your blood. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Healthy Living and Eating Tribe. I really do appreciate what you're doing. Do you work in your own practice, or do you work with endocrinologists? Because when I go to endocrinologists, they always have like a diabetes consultant or
Right.
working.
Right.
So are you on your own, or are you working in conjunction with doctors?
Yeah, I've found that environment is just not conducive to be able to teach the methods and the strategies that I like to teach. So I'm on my own, and I transitioned about 5 years ago out of practice, and now I'm doing all pretty much all online coaching. So we have programs that people can enroll in, where we do teleclasses and where we do personal coaching over the phone or through Skype, and have a lot of video and on online support for them. But that's the way we do it. And I have 3 other coaches who work for me that are all dietitians, but they're again not conventional dietitians. They're dietitians who kind of stumbled upon the same path that I did, and are real congruent with what I teach.
There are so many medical nutritional doctors, or doctors in nutrition, that are promoting a high animal product
Right.
diet. And just recently, I don't know where I learned this, but I heard that sugar may not be the only reason, the only cause of diabetes, that too much animal consumption, too much fat could also line you can explain it better.
Sure.
It's like it coats it so that there is that resistance.
Yeah, I think the genesis is too much stored fat around the organs, particularly the liver, and it can come from a variety of paths. It can certainly come from eating too much processed, refined, packaged foods. It can come from overeating saturated fats and animal products. It can also come from overeating, again, processed, refined, grain-based foods, which can get converted to sugar in the liver also. So I think the central theme is to eat a lot of plants. I don't teach exactly a plant-based diet, completely vegan diet, but we do teach a plant-rich diet.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell my clients and patients to eat more plants than a vegetarian, because I think that a plant-rich diet is the cornerstone to start to melt away some of that fat stored around the organs.
Yeah.
And most people do need to cut way down, if not completely move away from animal products for at least a long while as they heal.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's what I like about the nutritarian lifestyle, is that you have an opportunity, if you still want to have animal products, between 5 and 10% of that.
You can count.
Oh yeah. There's sometimes you can hear the music real loud, and other times it's not. Here we go. We have 8 minutes in this segment.
Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. And today's teacher is Dr. Mowll, and you can find him if you would like a coach, a diabetes coach, online. This is very simple. You can go to drmowll.com. And for those of you who are wanting to join the tribe, call 407-373-5959. Now, keep in mind, there's a Heal Tribe in the Jacksonville area, and there's a Heal Tribe in the Brevard County area. So it's the First Coast, Space Coast, one Heal Tribe. So the next, the Lillian McDermott Radio Show has joined forces with the Jacksonville couple in Brevard and in Jacksonville, and that's Ubed and Sephora Osmani. And the next time we meet up there in Jacksonville is May 23rd. So mark your calendars. We're going to have a wonderful conversation. We have Dr. Niels joining us. He is going to be talking about cancer, and the Jacksonville couple is going to talk about foods that promote healing, and I will talk about the spiritual aspect of cancer. And so then tonight in Brevard County, Space Coast, 5:30. If you're going to be late, just let me know. We'll order the food before you get there, so that way it's warm and waiting for you. 5:30 at Bonefish Grill. Call me at 407-373-5959 if you would like to RSVP. So, and we have a special guest. Dr. Joel Furman is going to show up via Zoom, and he is going to take your questions. Where else can you get that for free? I am just so excited to be able to promote that today. Dr. Mowll, I am so happy that you have joined us today on this day that we are taking our health back. right? It's simple, but yet complicated. So let's talk about some of the objections that people can overcome, the hurdles, the things we tell ourselves that we can overcome these hurdles to lead us to taking our health back.
Well, let's start with hope, because I think that a lot of people lose hope over time, and a lot of times doctors and the community, the culture will steal hope from people when it comes to their weight, when it comes to diabetes. So start by realizing that there is something you can do. There's many people who have walked this path before you that have been able to overcome hurdles like food addiction and food cravings, and finding the right foods and getting on the right diet and starting a good movement, physical activity program, who have been able to overcome those obstacles and reverse their diabetes and lose the weight that's been so stubborn and so difficult to get rid of. So start with hope, and then we need a really good action plan. And again, as we've talked a little bit about in this show, it starts with a really good diet. And we want to focus on, number one, real foods, whole foods, plant-rich diet. So we're eating the foods that will help our bodies to become healers. They're filled with nutrition, that are filled with vitamins and minerals and fiber and phytonutrients that can actually be plant medicine to help our bodies start to heal themselves, and cutting out foods that clog up our system. So things like processed, refined carbohydrates, processed, refined vegetable oils, processed, refined foods in general, packaged foods. These foods we need to cut way, way down on, if not completely get them out of our diet. Chemicals, dyes, preservatives, artificial sweeteners, these are toxic, and they have a toxic effect on our gut. And our gut is very, very important when it comes to metabolism. We need to reduce inflammation and put the body in a position where it can start to heal itself. So we get on the right eating plan, and then we start to move our bodies somehow, some way. Go for a walk after dinner, take 5 or 10 minutes. This does not need to be complicated. As you said, this can be very simple. Just start with simple steps, start to move yourself in the right direction, and then we can build on that. But again, it begins with hope. Realize that you can do this. Other people have done this. Get on some good Facebook groups and get inspired by other people. Join something like the Diabetes Summit at thediabetessummit.com, or get some help from a coach to realize what your potential is.
I love the word hope. I love that word, because if we believe that we can, and if we believe that we can't, then we're both right. And we've heard that over and over again. I didn't create that quote, but it's so true. We win everything with first the thought. Then the thought becomes the feeling, and then the feeling becomes the action. And so I always say, nip it in the thought, because that's where it begins. Now, when you're talking about these foods that are created to cause addiction, people are told, if you take this pill, that's all you need to do. So why would I want to stop taking the pill? And because I'm afraid that I won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the whole food and how it changes our cravings?
Absolutely. Yeah. Food is foundational to life, and it has a very powerful effect on our brain. It has a very powerful effect on our physiology. And unfortunately, the food industry has hijacked our brains by manipulating our food in such a way to make it more addictive, and to make to tap into those same brain centers and physiology that makes us enjoy food and seek out food. But now we've become very addicted to food, and unfortunately, it's the wrong types of food. So they've taken and processed oils and turned them into basically frankenfoods that have very long shelf lives that don't ever go bad, and they can sit in a package forever. They've taken things like grains and stripped away all the fiber and the bran and the minerals and turned them into something that, again, doesn't degrade. It doesn't go bad. They've taken plants that are naturally high in sugar and stripped away everything except for that white crystallized refined sugar, and put that into just about every food that's on a supermarket shelf. And all of those things act on a part of the brain called the nucleus accumbens, which is the addiction center. Mm-hmm. And it triggers something called a reward cascade, mm-hmm. which is similar to what other drugs do and other forms of addiction like gambling and sex addiction and other things like that. Mm-hmm. And so it makes us want more of these. And so we seek that out subconsciously. It's unfortunately also, we're naturally attracted to fruit, which comes packaged in very bright colors. It's why mm-hmm. we have color vision as humans. Mm-hmm. And it's no surprise you look at the supermarket shelves and the boxes are bright red and bright orange and
just trying to trick us, aren't they?
Trying to trick us. That's
okay,
right.
So just recently there was an article. I know we don't have much time, but I want you to see if you can address it. You talked about artificial sweeteners. Many people think because I have diabetes or whatever, or I don't want to get diabetes, I'm going to have the artificial sweetener. Just recently a report came out that said that there was no long-term damage or effect on the body with artificial sweetener. Isn't that a myth?
Yeah, I mean, there's many studies that show that artificial sweeteners have the potential to have a negative impact on the brain. There's hundreds of different reported side effects from aspartame or NutraSweet. Sucralose or Splenda has been linked to destruction of the microbiome in the gut. And if you've learned anything about this, you know that gut microbiome is essential to health and healing. So yeah, that's a myth.
It is a big myth. So those of you, and so people say, well, I'm not going to have the artificial, I'm just going to have the plain old sugar. Well, perhaps maybe we should develop a palate that will embrace maybe module dates or fruits that are the whole fruit if you want something sweet, and create some wonderful desserts with the whole food. And I can teach you guys how to do that at the Heal Tribe, and so can the Jackson Beacon couple in Jacksonville. And Dr. Mowll, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm really excited to have this conversation so that people feel empowered. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to you, my listening friend, okay, it's time to take your health back. You can go to visit drmowll.com and get your manifesto so you can start taking your life back. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good, you remembered. Yay. Good job. You were listening. There were a couple of things that we were not able to talk about. I wanted to talk about toxins. I don't know how much time you have left, but what are some of the toxins that can contribute to insulin resistance?
Well, I think the main thing to realize with toxins is that we're bombarded with toxins. There are ways to avoid them by having a good air purifier in your home and making sure you're filtering your water supply, because a lot of them end up there. Mm-hmm. You can eat a clean diet, of course, which will eliminate some of those toxins. But there's things like PCBs, which are not even used anymore in agriculture, but they are still persistent in human blood. So they're still in our environment. We're still getting them. Bisphenol A, BPA, which has been taken out of a lot of plastics, but
they've renamed it.
They've renamed it. Now they're using bisphenol S, which is not any better, unfortunately. Yeah. So they're probably just going to keep doing that until, forever.
I just recently had Dr. Neil Sheedy on the show. Mm-hmm. Neil Sheedy on the show. So that was hard to say. So he said that 60% of rain has Roundup in it.
Yep.
And I said to him, but wait, that means that our organic food has 60% rain Roundup. And so they said they haven't done the research yet, but that they've done some testing of it, and that we need to be very, very careful with our food. So here we are. He even said, throw out any plastic you have. Don't even trust anything, even if it says BPA, BP,
right,
whatever. So what do you say about that? Are all plastics bad for us, or are there some?
Yeah, I think we have to be careful not to store foods in plastic, and certainly not to cook foods in plastic or to heat them. Don't use plastic water bottles that have been sitting out potentially in the sun or shipped in hot trucks, because that plastic will leach. Well, you don't know. That's why we just don't use them. I think it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to put some cold water in a bottle and drink it within, a few minutes. It's probably not a big deal. But we certainly don't want to store things in plastic. Even like I use a water filter, a zero water filter that has a plastic base, and I'll filter the water through it and then pour it into a glass, pitcher, and store it in the glass pitcher. So, glass is way better. Stainless steel is fine. We want to avoid and definitely never cook or heat in plastic, because that's the worst. And those plasticides, those organic compounds can leach into the foods. And so we want to reduce our exposure as much as possible. And I also believe that we should encourage detoxification in the body through different compounds that can help to encourage the liver to detoxify the blood.
For example, what do you
like? Sulfur compounds found in cruciferous vegetables are really good.
Okay.
Glycosinolates found in broccoli is the highest concentration, but also Brussels sprouts and cabbage and cauliflower is very high in these compounds. Things like glutathione is really one of the main detoxifiers of the body, and so we want to encourage natural production of glutathione in the body, reduce oxidative stress by, again, a lot of this comes back to the same things that you're teaching. Maybe people just don't understand the reasons why you're teaching it, but it's, a good, healthy, real food, plant-rich diet is gonna give us most of the tools that we need.
I know, but for every person that says that, there are commercials, other nutritionists that are saying, "Oh, that's all bunk." I mean, I finally made the decision, Dr. Mowll, that I'm not gonna bring any. At the beginning, I was like, okay, whatever diet suits you, that's great. But then after learning, I feel like I'm responsible. If I bring someone, I mean, I've turned away people that want to promote their diet, and and it consists of trickery, taking all these pills and taking all this, and it's all an illusion. They're having you eat raw vegan. You have to, it's like these companies that want to come on and say, if you take all these supplements and then you eat raw vegan, you're going to lose weight. It's not about losing weight anymore. It's about being healthy, and the body will thank you by releasing whatever it's storing.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And so I want to thank you. I want to ask you before we go, have you been able to help everyone that has followed your protocol?
Yeah, it's a good question. The only people I think that don't get any help, and there are those people, it's a rare minority, but there are those people. They can't get over the initial hurdles. So, they may try to get started and just, and something overwhelms them and they say, I just can't do this. Now, we've tried everything we possibly can to avoid that by giving them a lot of encouragement up front, setting up a structure in our coaching program to where we bring them along slowly and really start with setting those goals and help them take baby steps. But there's still those people who just for whatever reason, just I think lose that internal hope. And some of those come back. Some of those people do come back to see us. And
it's a journey, isn't it?
And I pray that some of them find maybe a different path that can resonate with them. But I will say that, well over 90% of the people who get started with us have successful outcomes. And some of them, a good percentage of them, have really, according to their doctors, near miracles. You know, people eliminating drugs, losing weight that they've been trying to lose for years, and again, reversing diabetes, which is what most of our clients want when they get started.
Well, I'm very grateful to you and what you're doing, because not everybody can have a voice with their doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And I love doctors. Don't get me wrong. I think
For
doctors
sure.
are wonderful. They do a great job, but you know, you can lead someone in the wrong path too. Well-intentioned, thinking that you have the answers, and I would follow what my doctors would tell me to do. And if I would have continued doing that, I wouldn't be doing this interview right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so it's taking your health back and taking your life back is so important, that we've been given that voice again. And you know, and again, I'll say this again, I'm sure that those people, that the 10% that you weren't able to help, had nothing to do with you. Probably they were unwilling to dig deep to discover the root cause of why they are abusing their body. And that comes from childhood. That comes from those little tapes, the subconscious mind that keeps playing without us knowing, you know. And so good job. Thank you so much, Dr. Mowll, for being on the show. And I appreciate you coming on and being such a wonderful voice of inspiration.
This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. And to you, my viewing friends, I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. I look forward to our next conversation. Bye.